In this lesson, we'll talk about the term rate. Now, in order to discuss the term rate, I'll give a few examples of the nominal rate, and then once we know how we are compounding, we can find out our term rate. So recall that at the end of each term, we're supposed to be adding the interest on top of the principal so that we start off our next term and then we earn interest on the original principal plus the interest, in this case from term 1. So that was the compounding of the interest, so adding it up to the principal. Now in the second lesson, I mentioned this little chart, and this little chart tells us the most common ways to compound, which you see all the way right here. And once we compound annually or semi-annually or quarterly, then we know exactly how many times we compound per year. And that, okay, so in lesson 2, I referred to as M, which was the number of terms, okay, that you would be compounding in 1 year. Now, if you take these 3 examples, let's say 8.5% compounded quarterly and the other 2, we can gauge just from this information all that we need to know. So anytime you deal with compounding, they always have to provide you a nominal rate that you have, and these are the 3 nominal rates. If you weren't compounding at all, then that's really all you need. And if you remember, if you watch the simple interest videos, then you notice that we would just simply have 8.5% per annum, and that's all that we had. But now as we're compounding, we also have to know how often are we going to compound, meaning how often are we going to be adding the interest on top of our principal, okay, at the end of each term, but how long is the term? So is it a quarter, is it a month, or is it 6 months as for semi-annually? Now, for convenience, okay, we refer to the nominal rate, which is still the uncompounded rate, okay, as simply little j. So that would be our nominal rate that we have. Now, once this is given, if you want to find out what the term rate is, and term rate is the actual interest rate for each term, okay, and that we refer to as little I, because it's not annually necessarily all the time, we have to find out what this little I is. So in the first example, 8.5% compounded quarterly. To find our term rate, I, all we do is we take our nominal rate right there and we divide it by M. And remember, that comes from right there. So if we have 8.5% compounded quarterly, then I is equal to, so 8.5% divided by 4. Now, if you're actually inputting this into a formula, you can also change the percent back into decimal, okay, and that would be your I. So those are equivalent. But the 4 is coming from the quarterly. And I like to just leave it like this. I don't, again, necessarily try to divide it out and then worry about my decimals. So I just keep it like this until I actually have to punch it into calculators. Now in the second example, the 1.25 compounded monthly, in that particular case, my I, so 1.25% divided by, because it's monthly, I would divide by 12. And again, you can change it back into decimal in this way, and those are equivalent. The third example, which is the 7.1% compounded semi-annually, for that one, Semi-annually means twice per year. So m is equal to 2. And this would be your I. And again, notice I haven't really divided them out. I just keep them looking like a fraction, just for convenience. Okay, so in this lesson, we discussed the actual term rate, okay, and how to find it from the nominal rate. Thank you for watching.